Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert. Welcome to another Tuesday tea time with Chala. I've got my tea in my cute little double shelled glass. It's not that big because today in Toronto is like 32 degrees Fahrenheit. No, Celsius, excuse me. That would be really cold. So I think that's like 100 degrees in the US. So I'm going to be experiencing some of that in Atlanta next week when I go and speak at the WeBank conference. I'm really looking forward to, I'm not looking forward to the travel portion, but I'm looking forward to actually getting there, being there, speaking for the first time. Oh my gosh, I'm way too excited, right? Not to take away from the speaking that I do every week here. My God, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even know what to say anymore. This keeps me on my toes. The virtual conferences and the meetings keep me on my toes. So it's different. It's different presenting in person. I have to actually worry about my shoes. I have to actually worry about what I'm going to wear. Yeah, so this is fun. So let me talk to you about this week's message. This week's actual topic is about messaging, which is first and foremost one of the first things that you think about when you think about marketing. So let me take a first step. Hmm. The thing about these double shelled glasses, you guys, is that it keeps it like lava hot. So, I throw an ice cube in it and hopefully it doesn't crack the glass, but it's supposed to be double shelled, so hopefully it's stronger. It's so damn cute. Okay, putting that aside. All right. So, ever wonder why your marketing's not working? Ever wonder which part of your marketing's not working? Ever wonder why none of the things that you're doing, you're advertising, you're paying SEO companies, you're paying content writers, and none of it is working? Well, here are some of the things that I've seen working with my clients about what might be off. And sometimes it's not your message. So here are some of the things that could be going wrong with your marketing that has nothing to do with what you're saying, which most people, most business owners think is, the messaging is the most germane part of the marketing platform, of the marketing strategy. But here are some examples of clients who have demonstrated that maybe it's just not the message. Maybe it's something else that's off. So here are some places where you should look. Outreach. This happens to be one of the biggest pain points for a lot of clients that I work with. We can do all the research in the world. We can figure out the exact person to talk to. We can figure out their exact problem. We can write the perfect script. But if there's no outreach to use the script, if there's no action taken with the script, with the message, then your ROI will be nothing. Obviously, if nobody can see it, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to see it, does it really fall? So if a marketing campaign is created without outreach, is it really ever created? So I don't know. I'm just making fun here, but so the example is where, with a client where we did the research, and these guys spent 2 months on their capabilities presentation because they just wanted to have it perfect. They perfected it, they perfected it, they perfected it, and they never presented it. They never even got appointments to present it because it was out of their comfort zone, out of their wheelhouse. They just kept getting the referrals that they were getting, and they never went outside of their comfort zone, and they never used the actual messaging that we wrote. So the ROI from the marketing wasn't missing because of the messaging. So sometimes it's not the message. So here's another example of where sometimes it's not the message. Sometimes you have the wrong rep. And this one's a hard one to swallow. But, there's different kinds of reps. There's hunters and gatherers, and then there's farmers. And in most large organizations like the ones that I worked at, Pepsi, Pizza, Frito-Lay, I'm going to need my tea, you guys. This makes me think that I need to bring something warm up with me on stage. I usually have a tea because I'm usually freezing in those conferences. And now that I have a tickle in my throat, I better bring some like candies and something with me. Like I don't want to be hacking up there after planning and dreaming about this, big stage appearance and then going on them. but I already feel a tickle, so that's not good news. Okay, so we were talking about the wrong reps. So the wrong rep is a rep who doesn't hear buying signals, soft no's, or buried objections. And I know because I'm a rep for my own company. I sell. That's the majority of the time I'm selling in marketing. I spend very little percentage of my business of time working with clients. So it's really all about, for me, selling, visibility, having needs discovery conversations, and closing those sales. So I know that when I was getting trained in how to do that better, and when I was recording my sales conversations and a sales coach was evaluating it with me, for me, I know that the things that I was skipping were buying signals, soft no's, and buried objections, because if you can't spot them, you can't address them. Okay. And so the example was, I mean, that I gave you the example of when I was doing it. And then I also had a client who had they had a new sales rep, and the thing that was wonderful about that sales rep was they could get meetings with the script, so the messaging was working, but they could not close the sale. So because that person still didn't understand, I guess, either the business or the industry, or couldn't think strategically enough at the 10,000 foot level to be able to ask about some of the more strategic issues and to bring the consultative solutions to, to the meeting. And so they weren't able to close the sale, but the script was working. So here is another example of when maybe it's not the message that's off. So another case of when maybe it's not the marketing and maybe it's not the messaging is when your internal operations can't align with marketing. So let me tell you an example of a client who used the message that we developed, sent the emails, and was able to book some meetings, but the process that they went through inside of the company once they got the meeting was so off-putting, and like the receptionist was so off-putting, and the length of time it took for them to actually even get to meet a human who was going to be able to help answer their questions was taking so long that the internal operations did not align with what we were trying to do in their marketing to bring as many accounts to close and onto sales calls and then to close them as possible. So because of the bad client onboarding or the bad prospect onboarding, we were losing them. They were losing them. So sometimes, again, it's not the message, it's not the marketing, it's other things. So you need to look at it holistically. And when you're working with somebody who has experience in the holistic side of things, rather than just getting like one vendor for one piece of it and then hoping it'll mishmash with the rest of what you're doing, that's certainly the advantage of getting someone who does it holistically. Another reason why it may not be your messaging that's causing the low ROI in your marketing is that it could be completely off target. Maybe you're saying exactly the right things, but to the wrong people. So an example is we didn't even know what to say to whom when we worked with a IT company. And then when we did the research and we did the proper strategic analysis, we found that the gap in the market was to target healthcare companies. And what we should have been saying to them, instead of saying we're just an IT company, was that we could reduce their hold waiting time on their call centers. And so that became a sub-brand of On Hold Rescue, which then, resulted in almost $1 million of sales in the next quarter. So that's what knowing the right target can do, is it can actually change your messaging. So sometimes it's not the message itself, it's the wrong target, which then causes you to relook at the message. In fact, in that case, actually, I guess it does become the message. It's the wrong message for that crowd. So, and along those lines is the last point that I want to make about maybe it's not your messaging that's wrong. Well, maybe it's the wrong buying cycle. So have you ever thought that, similar to having the wrong target, so maybe your targeting is off, it's not the wrong message, but the wrong timeline. So for example, I mean, I'll give you another example of when I did this. I sold niching training, how to find your niche training, to really, really, really established businesses when I first started out. And they didn't need it as much as they needed it during startup. What the bigger, the more established companies need is a lot more account-based marketing, a lot more strategic stuff, rather than just the basics of, okay, who am I going to sell to and what am I going to do? So with the more established, larger companies, it's a lot more about, fine tuning and honing and visibility, and then teaching them how to put all of that together into a marketing plan. But the niching stuff, who was more interested in that was the real startups and the smaller companies, because they were really starting from scratch. They had no idea where to go and what to say to who. So again, the wrong buying cycle could be the reason why your messaging is not resounding. Maybe it's not the wrong message. Maybe it's the right, maybe it's the right message, but it's not the right time for that group of target, which is, like, in my case, it was business owners. So look at all the holistic reasons why your marketing strategy may not be working. Messaging, although, again, as I said, it sounds like it's the crux and the most germane part of your marketing strategy, it is only one part of it. There is all these other factors that I talked about, internal, external, both from a operations and sales and talent, everything you can think about. It all goes together, and you need to look at it holistically. So hopefully that's going to help you reconsider the next time you're getting back low ROIs on any kind of marketing, and you're thinking, oh my God, we're saying the wrong thing, let's just switch it, let's just switch the message. And it may not be the message, so look at elsewhere. Let me take one last sip. Then I guess I'm going to see you guys in 2 weeks. I can't wait. We'll be skipping next week because I will be live in the flesh, hopefully with thousands of women. But I'm really curious to see how many are actually going to come out, because so many more that I reached out to are saying they're not coming. But hopefully much, much more are coming. And I haven't been to Atlanta in 4 years, maybe 5. My goodness, it's gonna be fun. Thanks, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Bye.